You wanted me, Delius?
Where have you been? I wanted to dictate a progression for orchestra, and now I've forgotten it.
I'm sorry, Delius. I was talking to the girl next door.
What are your intentions towards this girl? Marriage? Oh, she'll bring a fine dowry with her and a beautiful house. Not to be sneered at, I admit.
But, Delius, I hardly know the girl.
Well, you must never marry. An artist should never marry. He should be as free as the winds. Oh, amuse yourself with as many women as you like, but for the sake of your art, never marry one. It's fatal. And listen, if ever you have to marry a girl who's more in love with your art than you. It's only from your art that you will find lasting happiness in life, not from love. Love is a madness. You're a fool if you ever marry.
Thank you for your advice.
And it's the same with this church nonsense.
Fred, it's time for your rest.
I hear you've been going to the local church.
I'll go and fetch the Bruder.
Well, if you must go to church, go to the next village.
I go now, sir.
Oh, I regret being the cause of that outburst. It was really most embarrassing.
Oh, I'm used to that. You know, there are times when I wonder if I can go on. I've never stood in his way. I've always given him the right conditions for work.
But he's so hard, so stern. It must be his illness.
No. No. You should have known him when he was well. You know, he'd come downstairs from the music room on Fridays during our early years here. And he'd go off to Paris. Sometimes he'd stay away for days. I just had to stand by while he enjoyed himself with other women. There were terrible scenes with abortions, everything. But I knew that he'd always come back to me. And he did.
I can't reconcile such hardness with such lovely music.
Will you hear my confession, Father?
Eric, I've been thinking, the sooner you throw away those great Christian blinkers and get rid of all this religious humbug, the better. It has paralyzed music all along. Now tell me, what Catholic ever wrote a piece of music worth hearing?
But, Delius, what about the romantic thing that sprang from the very heart of the Catholic Church? Plain song.
Dull, my boy, dull.
Well, how about Haydn's oratorio, The Creation? And that wonderful passage that begins, and God created...
God? God? I don't know him. And don't talk to me about oratorios. Elgar wasted most of his life writing long-winded oratorios. He told me himself it was the penalty of his English environment. But he wasn't as bad as Parry. He would have set the whole Bible to music if he'd lived long enough. Oh, to be a success in England, you've got to be a second Mendelssohn. He gave the public what they wanted. Oh, rest in the Lord. My Requiem has been played in England only once. once. And then what a fiasco. The press was outraged. They said it was a pagan cry against Christianity. Christianity, I'm inclined to think the whole thing a myth. Human beings are incredible. They believe anything to escape reality. But one thing is certain. English music will never be any good till they get rid of Jesus.
My legs.
Have you brought your notebook, Eric?
Yes, Delius.
Get it. Are you ready?
In a moment.
Ready then? Come on,
Yes,
come
Delius.
on. I want you to write down a new opening to our poem. And I don't like that title. Call it Song of Summer. I want you to imagine we're sitting on the cliffs in the heather looking out over the sea. The sustained chord in the high strings suggests the clear sky and the stillness and calmness of the scene. Now then, 7/4 in a bar, 4 plus 3. Divided strings, chord of D major, A, D, F sharp. The lowest note, the A strings and the violas. Now, Eric, you remember that figure that comes in with the violins when the music becomes more animated? Yes,
Delius, yes,
well, I'm introducing it here to suggest the gentle rise and fall of the waves. Now, I want a semi-quaver run-up in tones, in the solo flute, from top D to A. Now, 3 beats on the A, and then come down again. Tier, tier, hold it for the rest of the bar. Now, the tier figure is the same value as that which comes later in the solo oboe passage.
Is the tier in the flute G natural, Delius?
Yes. The flute figure suggests a seagull flying by.
This was our greatest achievement.
Same progression.
Whenever Delius was well enough, we worked. We finished a violin sonata, 2 vocal works, and several pieces for orchestra. After 4 years, it seemed as if my task was completed.
Now, Eric, this is our biggest task. Everything we've done hitherto was just a preparation for this. There are just some sketches I made on billheads in Norway years ago. Now, Jelka has written out the words of the 5 movements. You've got the words of the first poem.
Yes.
Now then, get your score paper. We shall want the biggest kind. Yes, ready? 32 staves, 2 flutes, 2 oboes, English horn, 2 B-flat clarinets, bass clarinet, 3 bassoons, double bassoon, 4 horns in F, 3 trumpets in C, 3 tenor trombones and tuba, timpani, harps, 1st and 2nd sopranos, 1st and 2nd altos, 1st and 2nd tenors, 1st and 2nd basses, 4 parts each, and the strings.